and welcome to Core & Co. My name is Katja and today's exercise is going to be one of my very favourites actually. We're going to roll over the ball and then we're going to kind of put the weight in the hands and then we're going to lift the legs back. So it's going to target a lot of problem areas for people. The bums, tums and thighs situation. All the muscles all around here, all that squeezing is really going to tone all the muscles. Really great for the hamstrings, really great for the glutes, really great for the quads. Lots of strength in the core, a bit of lower back as well. But you are going to need to have really strong hands and wrists. Not super strong hands and wrists, but they need to be in good shape. So we're going to start by doing some wrist exercises, just some strengthening exercises. So if you drop down to your mat, if you've got your mat ready, have a bottle of water ready, a little towel. We're going to drop down so we're on all fours. And we're just going to have a nice straight line from the shoulder down to the wrist. Spreading the fingers out nice and wide and just taking a little circle around the hands. First clockwise and then anti-clockwise. It's up to you, however you feel comfortable. And just do some circles around, strengthen the wrist. And then over side to side. Left to right. And then back to front. I can feel a little pain in my right wrist as I come forward. And that's my dominant side for most things. So it's just really important that we stretch out those muscles because this is the point of contact. It's going to be the ball and your hands, and that's it. Everything else is going to be off the ground for this exercise. So we're just going to gradually walk the hands out. Twist them around, turn them around so the hands are now facing you. Then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go forwards and backwards, side to side. Really gentle because the hands are not designed to go backwards. So we're just going to really stretch out those muscles all in the wrists. Lots of little tiny circles. Just stretching out those muscles. Taking the hands so they're facing outwards, they're facing the sides of the mat. We're just going to rock ever so slightly from side to side. Forwards, it's almost drawing the elbows into the chest. And then backwards, turning the hands so they're facing forwards now. Sit back on the heels. Just allowing the chest and the tummy just to dip between the legs. Really extending out the arms, really stretching out all the fingers. This is called extended child pose in yoga. We're really going to drop the chest, drop the tummy, really stretch out those arms, stretching out the wrists. And from here we're going to take all the weight into the palms of the hands, just here. The heels of the hands. We're going to turn the toes under, tuck the toes under. We're going to push up into the downward dog. Downward facing dog. Straightening out the backs of those legs. Don't forget we're going to be working all the backs of the legs. The backs just here at the top are called the hamstrings. We're going to be doing just a couple of exercises here on the hamstrings. So this is a great exercise anyway. This is a nice relaxing pose, taking the gaze back up at the belly button, really allowing the head to be heavy, just opening up all those shoulders. And we have this nice gap here between our hands, and we are going to bring one foot up in between that gap, and then we're going to drop that back knee down, flatten the foot down, and just sit back. So your upper body, your shoulders are over the hip, just here. So you've got a nice 90-degree angle here, and then just here as well. Just slightly greater in this case. We're going to put the hands together, put the palms together. We're going to push them up to the ceiling, just facing forward. Just going to lean into this ever so slightly. Stretching out all those muscles, keeping the tummy pulled in nice and tight. You can actually ravel the hands around like this. If you want to squeeze that in even further, keeping the feet facing forward. Remember that railway line thing? So they're nice and parallel. I'm going to put the hands back down, either side of that foot. We're going to tuck that back toe under. I'm going to push up and take that foot back to join the other foot, bringing the other foot up, the second foot. Dropping that knee, dropping the foot. I'm going to take the weight, take the chest over. The hips just here, so we're in a nice straight line. Think of the legs being on a nice railway line. Think about the angles here. I'm going to take the hands, push them up, squeezing the ears together. Just ravelling those hands in a little more. Feel that across the hip flexor just here on this left side. I'm going to take the hands back down, picking the back toe up. I'm going to pick that back knee up, and then we're going to push that leg back. So we're back into that downward facing dog. I want to make sure the heels are down. So if you need to just walk your feet in ever so slightly, just to make sure the weight is pushed back into the heels, so you can take your stare through your arms and back up towards your belly button. This is really good for the wrists as well. So from here, just stepping the feet back, just doing a little, few little pushes, just to stretch out those muscles, just loosening everything up a little bit. And then from here, we're going to drop down into the plank. So if you haven't done this before, or you haven't done this from this position before, we're just going to take these elbows here and we're going to draw them back into the chest, keeping the tummy pulled in nice and tight, weights into the toes, nice straight line. We're going to bring the elbows back into the body, keeping the body in a nice straight line, and then just allowing the chest to drop and straight up into the big cobra pose. Gaze back up at the ceiling, soft elbows, hips down on the mat. And tucking those toes under, we're going to push back up. I'm going to take one foot in front and we're going to drop it across like that. So we get a nice cross here. I'm going to take that foot back, that leg back, try and straighten out the toes as flat as they'll go. I'm going to sit back up here into the pigeon pose. I like to just turn my knuckles under there. Taking my arms ever so slightly wider than my shoulders. Facing forwards, facing up at the ceiling. It's really good to just squeeze in that lower back there. Really squeeze out this muscle here, really pushing the bum forward. I'm going to take the hands back down. Just turn those toes under at the back. Push up a little bit, just free that foot off. And then bring the other foot in, bending that knee, sitting down, flattening that back leg out, trying to keep those toes as straight as possible. Just sitting up into it here, rolling over onto my knuckles there, gazing back up at the ceiling, opening up the throat. Great breathing exercise. Facing forward. Really squeezing everything forward, pushing those hips forward. Nice squeeze into the lower back, nice squeeze into the bum cheeks. And from here, we're just going to let everything just relax a little bit, bringing the legs out, round to the corners of the mat. So we're going to be doing these leg raises, we're going to be taking our legs up behind us, but we're going to be taking them wide as well. So we're just going to stretch outside of these legs here. So taking the feet nice and wide, try and aim for the corners of the mat. It's another reason to use the mat, so you have a reference the distance. So keeping the foot flexed back towards us, just keeping the hips back, almost like pushing the pelvis forward ever so slightly so we keep the weight back. Just going to take the shoulders down, pushing one hand in front of the other, letting the head drop between those shoulders. Just opening out all the all the back, and then from there we're going to take the hands, we're going to put them into the small of the back, like this. Just push them into the small of the back, squeezing the elbows together and opening out the chest. Imagine that you have an invisible like football in between your elbows, and you squeeze that football together. Trying to keep that spine in a nice neutral position. And then going to release the arms off, just loosening up the arms. We're going to take the weight over to one foot, trying to get the hands around the back of the foot. Trying to get the chin down to the shin. But just take it as far as you can, just so we're loosening up the inside of this leg that we're bent over. Then release the hands back up to the middle, and then just back down and over to the other side. Trying to take the chin down to the shin, or the forehead, or just as far as you can. It's up to you. Just as far as you can go. We're just going to be stretching out all of here. Okay, so when you're ready, please grab your ball. Making sure that your hands are dry. You don't want to be slippy. So if you haven't rolled over the ball before, it can be quite daunting. So think about starting at the very back of the mat, coming up onto the toes. And we're just going to put a little sponginess in those knees. We're just going to roll the ball out slightly with the hands, and we're just going to back the tops of the knees, not the joint of the knee, but just above, just onto the quadricep. So we're just going to back the legs into the ball, spreading the feet apart ever so slightly, just allowing the pelvis, the hips, the tummy, the chest, just allowing everything to just gradually and slowly just flop over the ball. And then we can put the hands down, and then we can take the hands further away. So we open up this distance here between the core and the ball and the arms and the wrists and the hands. So if we take the hands out as far as they'll go, still keeping on the mat, because you need that grip from the mat. So staying with the mat, you should feel your toes just tucked under at the other end. And because the hands are further away, we can use the heel of the hands, the palm of the hands, the fattest palm of the hand, and we can actually pull ourselves forward ever so slightly, so we take our feet off the mat. And if you want to push back till you feel the mat, you can then pull forward until you're slightly off. You can just get a sense for where the mat is, because you can't see it. You need to develop that relationship between the toes and the ball. And actually, if you watched the last video, it was a really similar exercise to this. Instead of us lifting our legs, we lifted our upper body, and therefore we created a lower back exercise just here. So we're going to do something incredibly similar today. We're actually going to focus more on the lower body. But this is a really similar way to get on and off the ball. And if you want to do two exercises from roughly the same position, then this is a great linking exercise from one to the other. So I'm just going to roll myself back up, put my hands on the ball, just putting my knees down here like this, and my feet are actually way off the ball there. So So I'm just going to come back up to standing, and I want to try and get a little bit further away. So I'm just going to start again. So I've actually got slightly below my knee, just the very tops of my shins on the ball. And I'm going to roll myself forward and down onto my hands straight away. Taking the hands nice and flat, spreading the fingers nice and wide. I'm going to push the ball away. But then you think, oh no, I'm way too wide, I'm way too far away from the ball. So this would be a starting exercise for a starting position for another exercise, but maybe not for today. So I'm just going to roll that back. So I'm back up to standing. It takes a while just to get used to it. So actually, sorry, really want to... So I'm just going to drop my tummy into the ball this time, taking my legs really wide. I'm just going to drop my gut into the ball like that, taking the hands down. So you can see that the ball is here, right in the middle. My legs at this point are quite wide around the ball, like little frog legs. So I'm just going to take my legs back a bit so the ball is on the front of my thighs. And I'm just going to take my hands a little further forward to the point where my toes feel like they're just lifting off the ball. Just touch the mat there. That is going to be your starting position. So you're just off the mat, not on it, but off it. So we're going to start by taking the feet quite wide. We're going to flex the feet back so they're nice and flat. The flatter the foot, the better. So the toes are pointing back towards you. So nice and wide, toes slightly off the mat, tummy pulled in nice and tight, nice strong wrists, strong hands, widely spread fingers. We're going to lift to here. So we're in a nice straight line. Don't want to overlift. You want to hyperextend. So that puts a lot of pressure on the lower back. We're just going to drop the legs ever so slightly so we're in a nice straight line. And that is one rep. So we're going to go from here, where we're almost touching the mat, up to here where we're in a nice straight line. Legs are nice and wide. So when you're ready, I'm going to join in. I'm going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to hold it out here. I'm going to do some little pulses. The 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then relax the feet back down onto the mat. Just push back down with the hands ever so slightly. So all hands and feet are on the mat. Hopefully you can feel that. So this time, we're going to jump straight into the next set of repetitions. Keeping those hands nice and flat, we're just going to draw the feet back off the mat ever so slightly. Just turning the toes under so you can just feel them out on the fronts and the tips of the big toes. So the toes are pointed this time. And keeping the legs nice and wide, we're just going to raise them up to here. That's where we want to get to. Nice straight legs, nice straight neat lines. So we're going to start just here, just where the ball, just where the feet meet the floor. So when you're ready, we're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And keeping it out here, we're going to do some little pulses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Back, pushing back with the hands, allowing the feet to find the mat. Just tucking those toes under. And this way you can naturally start to feel more at one with the ball, like you're creating a foundation of strength all by yourself without really even realising it. It's great. Great exercise for kind of learning accidentally. It's a great exercise for your bum, for your legs, and for your tummy. So we're just going to think more about squeezing those bum cheeks together as we come up. We're going to bring the legs together this time. So the knees are touching, the feet are touching. So drawing the hands forward, lifting those feet ever so slightly off the mat, flexing the feet back so the toes are nice and flat. Feet are flat, legs are straight, knees and feet are squeezed together. And then starting just here, We're going to squeeze up, so we're in a nice straight line this time. We're going to really squeeze the bum cheeks together, really clench the bum cheeks together, clench all the hips together, and then from here, we're going to just start with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, squeeze, 2, 1, and stay out there in a nice straight line. Feet flex together. You know what's going to come next. And pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And push back and relax. Relax the feet down. Just taking the hands back a little bit. Just shaking out the wrists if you're starting to feel a little bit of that pressure building up in the wrists. Just relaxing the feet. Maybe just doing a few little rocks from side to side, back and forth. So this time we're going to take, drawing those hands forward, we're going to take those feet off the mat, feet together this time, but we're going to point the toes. So keeping those toes pointed, keeping the knees together, feet together, nice straight neat lines. We're going to go for 10, 9, 8, keeping the bum nice and squeezed together, keeping the thighs off the mat as we lift for 3, 2, 1, and pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Relax back down. So hopefully you get a good understanding of how this works. We can take it wide, we can keep it really narrow, and we can change the angle that we flex the foot at. And all of that will change the different muscle groups that we work as well. So we'll go back to taking it wide, and we'll keep the feet pointed. And we're going to go for pulses straight away. In a nice straight line, this is just starting position. We're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to draw the legs together. Keeping the feet together, this time knees together, legs staying out. Keeping the toes pointed, and pulse with me for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then flexing the feet back down. Keeping the feet together, keeping the knees together. We're going to pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then taking the feet really nice and wide, but keeping those feet flexed. Remember to keep the legs in a nice straight line. We're going to pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then full extensions here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing the legs together, nice straight line, toes pointed, knees together, feet together. We're going to do full extensions here. When you're ready, for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Feet back on the mat. Rolling back up onto the knees. And then we'll take the ball away. I think we'll just finish with some stretching. And hopefully, out of breath, hopefully you can feel the benefits of that exercise. As I say, it's one of my favourites. I could do that one all day long. Maybe not while I'm talking, but... Okay, so just a few stretches to finish. We're going to stretch out all those lovely muscles. So taking the feet out in front of you, sitting up nice and straight in a nice seated staff position. Nice straight legs, feet flex back towards us. We're going to take those arms in the air. Everything's a nice straight line. Then we're going to take the weight down, bringing the hands by the sides of the feet, keeping the feet flexed back towards us. Popping the forehead down on the shins if you can, if that's available. but wherever you can get to is absolutely fine, just as long as you're getting as much as you can out of that stretch. Taking the hands behind the feet if you can, pulling everything in, just shuffling the hips, pushing them back, just drawing all the weight down, resting the head into the shins. And from here we're going to take one leg up and across. So we've got a nice twist just here. So we've got a twist from this side, so we're going to take our weight across here, taking the back of the arm across the front of the knee just here. So we're going to push behind there, putting the hand just behind the bum cheek. We're going to twist and take our gaze over the other shoulder. So I'm looking directly over the other shoulder back. Nice straight, neutral spine. I'm going to hold it here just for a few seconds. Unravel that, bringing the neck back nice and gradually, just swapping the foot, swapping the feet, taking this foot over here, exposing all of this hip, taking the back of the arm here and just pushing into the back of this knee here, hand down behind here, and we're just going to take the gaze back up and over that back shoulder. Just feeling a nice pull at the back of this thigh. Taking the gaze back round to the front, just releasing that leg off. I'm just going to scoot forward a little bit and then just take everything back onto the mat, bringing the knees into the chest, just gripping the fronts of around the fronts of the legs and then grabbing the opposite elbows if you can. We're just going to rock here from side to side, just rolling ever so slightly over the liver and the kidneys. Really nice detoxing pose. Really squeeze everything nice and tight. Think about all that good work that you've done. And from here we're going to extend one leg all the way down to the ground and put the same arm, same side, put the arm on top of the thigh, flexing the foot back to face us. And then with this leg that you still have hold of, you're going to take those first two fingers, loop them around the inside of the big toe, and then pushing that foot all the way up as high as it will go. Really stretching out the backs of the legs, really pushing that knee out, making sure not to push on the joint, but to actually push the joint itself straight. Really feel this stretch up here, stretching out all those areas that we've done so much hard work on today in that exercise. Taking a few deep breaths here, thinking about all the hard work that we've done. Hopefully all of the new things that maybe you've learned today, and how we can get into these positions, and how we can get out of these positions, and how we can move the weight from front to back and left to right. We can squeeze and we can lift and we can hold and we can pulse. Switching the legs now, lifting the leg, dropping the other side, taking the hand down with it, putting those two fingers around the inside of the big toe, just stretching out all of this lovely muscle here. And if you feel comfortable, you can go off and you can do that exercise by yourself. And you can, flex the feet, point the toes, and keep the legs together, and then spread the legs apart, and make a little routine for yourself, and then link that together with some different exercises. So much good stuff to learn there. dropping that leg now, dropping it down. Hands by the sides, palms facing up, feet flopped nice and wide. Flopping the feet wide, letting the hands just flop open, palms facing up. Just taking a few deep breaths here in corpse pose. Hey everybody, I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you liked it you can make a comment about that down here, and if you disliked it you can do the same thing too, and I would appreciate all of your feedback. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching Cora & Co. Bye bye.